PPT visible to everyone?
Yeah, it's visible.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so today we're gonna discuss how your camera's autofocus system work. Not the camera, basically the lens autofocus system work. No, obviously the camera also have to, the focus. But it's in photographic lenses where there is a autofocus system. Is autofocus system not in your cinema lenses? So, but somehow we can discuss on it how it works. Also, it's depend upon the types of lenses and also the autofocus system that your camera inbuilt have. Okay, which kind of autofocus system in your camera have. So we'll discuss on the types of autofocus system in lens on later. But in your camera, there's a two types of autofocus system. Basically, one is your active AF system, that's called active autofocus system, and another is passive, basically. So in active, you guys can see if you guys are using cameras, infrared wala ek point hoda. There was a point for the infrared. When you are using autofocus system at that point of time, when you release your shutter halfway, you just press down your shutter halfway. Yeah, I've seen that एक light, but in daytime you are not, it won't visible. एक light जो है, infrared की light जाती है on the subject, whether you wanted to focus or your camera wanted to focus, and that ray calculate the distance, measure the distance, then inform the sensor what is the distance is. Now your sensor will tell your lens that where it should be focused, right? So that's for the active system कि वो beam of light जाती है और वो light आपके sensor को inform करती है and your sensor is instructing the lens to focus on it. So that's the reason your most of the time your autofocus system is work on the contrast, right? Even if you wanted to check it out, you can check it out on your white surface. You just put anything that is white in front of your camera and try to focus it in terms of autofocus. Your camera will keep hunting for focus. The reason is your camera autofocus system is work on the contrast basis. So in white surface, there is a no contrast at all. Is there any contrast on white? White पे contrast दिखेगा कैमरे को? Or have you seen that many times in, the daytime you are shooting it, but if there is a no contrast, your lenses keep hunting for the focus? If anyone faces that problem, just,
Yes, sir.
in white, so the reason is your cameras, not your lens, basically, it's your cameras things. Your camera sensor work on that process, basically. And how they work, just let me explain you by this figure when you comes to know. So I'll show you one camera body over here. You see this camera body over here? So you know here, see the number one, the light is coming from here, from the lens to the sensor. There's a mirror, right? There's a 45-degree angular. This one is mirror. Mirror will be your number कौन सा हो गया ये? It will be once again. One basically, yeah. Have you seen number 7? Number 7 दिख रहा है?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. That is another sensor. This one for the autofocus basically. It's called phase detector sensor. There is also one more sensor over here. So somehow अगर आप लोगों ने कहीं पर पढ़ा होगा कि your mirror will only reflect that the 96% of light, right? In viewfinder, अगर कहीं पर भी किसी ने पढ़ा होगा कि वो ज्यादा bright नहीं दिखता, you only got the 96% of light. The reason is you can see over here this mirror is 45-degree angular. Now for the another, there is also sub mirror. Behind that mirror, there is also sub mirror. See the number 3. Have you seen that? Number 3. Is it 45-degree angular? See number 3. Number 3 is visible.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So now the 45 due to your mirror is angular to 45-degree, right? So that's the reason you are able to see through the viewfinder, right? In number 9. Because it will be a straight or सीधा फिर bounce back हो जाता. So now your mirror is 45-degree angular. So that's the reason you are able to see through the viewfinder. But the thing is that also it pass some lights, the 5% amount of lights to sub mirror, जो कि उसके पीछे, but that is not 45-degree angular, it's 56-degree angular. So अगर somehow your mirror will be the 56-degree angular, what happen? Light कहाँ जाएगी अब? जो 5% अमाउंट की लाइट है वो कहाँ जाएगी? नीचे ना. जो आपका 3 नंबर दिख रहा है, सी द 3 नंबर मिरर, ये क्या करेगा? आपकी लाइट को नीचे करेगा, वॉट एवर द 5% लाइट. एंड नीचे क्या रखा हुआ है यहाँ पर? द नंबर 7 इज देयर इज अ सेंसर. इट्स कॉल्ड द फेज डिटेक्टर सेंसर, है ना? नाउ द वॉट एवर लाइट इज पासिंग ओवर देयर, your sensor got the information about the light, right? कि now your sensor will hunt for the focus. The reason, यहाँ से optical elements गया. Now that the 5% light will hit you another sensor, sorry, another mirror, and that mirror will reflect it on this sensor. It's called phase detector sensor. There won't be only one sensor. Focus point देखा है आप लोगों ने? किसी कैमरा 56 focus points, 78 focus point like this. ऐसा कुछ दिखा है? F point, autofocus points. Now, the things is that as much as for autofocus point in your camera, right, in your camera body, right? Suppose for an example, if there is a 61 focusing point, there will be 61 autofocus system, autofocus sensor on your camera. अगर 61 focus point है, there will be 61 sensor. This is a focusing sensor basically. सुनने में वो लगेगा, but your sensor is like that. Phase detector sensor जो होता है, it's look like that. ऐसा होता है कुछ. So suppose karo you guys have heard about कि my camera have the 61 focusing point, my camera have the 52 focusing point, some camera have the cross focus. So basically how they design phase detector sensor, according to that they just made those focus point. कि जितने ज्यादा number of focusing point रहेंगे उतने ज्यादा numbers यहाँ पर रहेंगे आपके sensor के. That's the auto focus sensor. बहुत small होते हैं. It's the pictures, macro pictures over here. है ना? So yeah, इस पे हम बाद में आएंगे. थोड़ा सा मैं इसको ब्रीफ कर देता हूँ. Let me do this one first.
So nowadays in mirrorless cameras, the entire sensor We can come.
Inside,
We
entire
can.
sensor is shifted on your sensor.
Okay.
It's for the mirrored camera, for the mirrorless camera, no need of it. So they shifted. That's the reason most of the camera become the hybrid cameras. At the same point, your camera can work for the both situations on which we are discussing over here. Because as already I have told you for the active AF system, it will fire the red beam over there and it's measure the distance from subject to the sensor and inform your sensor what is the distance about for suppose for the example is the 10 feet your camera your sensor will inform no your sensor will inform your lens to focus on it to focus on certain distance like for an example is 10 feet because whether your camera will get contrast your camera will focus on it many times you guys are facing those problems within a scene if there is a too much contrast, right? So sometimes you feel in event or somewhere else you somehow sometimes your camera is focusing on foreground but at same point of time if someone is passing through there your camera just shifted your focus over there, right? Many times in the same your camera is static your character is static but if somehow if something is happening in background your camera is keep hunting for focus. Your camera will just change the focus. The reason it will work on contrast basis basically. So in this active focus system, it will only work for static character. Suppose if your character is in movement, for every time you have to release the halfway the shutter, right? Then your camera will start hunting for focus, right? Or again, it's not only the focusing sensor or the things that will work fastly. Also, there's another things is the your lensing system. Which kind of autofocus system that your lens have, right? Many times you guys have heard about if you are using Canon, like USM हमारा है और sometimes you have heard about that the STM system है हमारा हमारा lens STM basically these all are for the autofocus system basically. STM stand for the stepper motor and the USM is ultrasonic motor basically. Both are the how your lens will respond when your sensor will inform the lens कि now you have to focus. So now how much time your lens will take to focus on it and which kind of process when your lens is focusing over there, right? So in STM, there is a stepper motor inside. So once your sensor will inform your lens, now you have to focus on 5 feet the precisely that motor will go on the 5 feet and focus on it. If your lens doesn't have that kind of system like the STM, right? जो पुराने normal lenses, the standard lenses, which don't have this kind of mechanism over here like the STM and USM. You guys have seen many kit lenses have those kind of problem. Even in the daytime, if there is a contrast, your lenses keep hunting for focus. इधर जाएगा उधर जाएगा घूमते रहेगा, right? It won't decide that whether to focus. The reason is because there is a no inside motor, the stepper motor is not inside. So once your lens will instruct the so your sensor will instruct the lens to focus on certain distance, again your lens don't have that much of capacity to focus. So that's the reason your lenses keep hunting for focus. So you must have to use once you are using a autofocus system. So just make sure that you are using some standard lenses which have this kind of capacity or this kind of features. So in STM, what happened? There is a stepper motor and it will focus on it. So it will take less than 30, the fraction of second, that the 30 seconds. It's also depend upon, brand to brand. But for Canon, I'm just telling you, 32 or 34 seconds. Sorry, fraction 1 by 34th of the second, it will take to focus. Again, there is another mechanism. It's called the USM. USM called the ultrasonic motor, right? So basically, it's precisely it will focus and will it just the faster than your stepper motor. So if it will focus on 1 by 30th of the second, 34th of the second, USM lens can focus on 1 by 24 or 20th. But in USM, there is a problem because it's operated by the software, right? So when you are shooting videos and you are using autofocus, right? And maybe at that point of time, the same point of time, you are using on camera mic, USM motor will respond more sound, right? When you're using USM lenses produce more sound than compared to STM motor. So many times अगर तुम लोगों ने lens के बारे में पढ़ा होगा, many times people are suggesting once you are shooting any videos, right, try to use a staple motor, STM lenses, because it won't make, in autofocus system, it won't make too much sound, right? But USM, obviously USM is faster than STM lenses. USM जो है वो STM से fast होता है. But the thing is that it will also produce noise, right? So the thing is that in active autofocus system, once your camera inform your lens, now your lens have whatever the capacity that your lens have, your lens will focus on it. But the thing is that once it will work on the stationary object, but once your character is still in moving, every time you have to release your shutter halfway, you have to hunt for the focus, right? So it will take time. So now there is another focusing system, it's called the passive focusing system, in which there is a two types of focusing system. ये passive में भी single नहीं है. There's some problem with internet here. क्या करें? Passive autofocus system works very differently. Instead of relying on the red beam to find out the distance between the camera and the subject, it either uses phase detection or contrast detection, or a combination of both for detecting contrast. Right now, you are asking for the mirrorless cameras, right? So most of the mirrorless camera have the both functions, right? Giving the contrast as well as the phase detection. Now just discuss how it works.
Sir, here the secondary mirror is behind the mirror, no, sir. So how does
Behind the main mirror. Behind the main mirror.
so how it recognize how it gets the light?
This is the bit of translucent glass that they use. So that 5% light which passes over there.
So the mirror, main mirror is a translucent glass there.
Yeah, main mirror is translucent.
Okay.
So that 5% light will pass over there. But that's the reason that the secondary mirror will get light, no? So without operation, that's the reason. Once you are just releasing the halfway your shutter, you find that your camera is start hunting for focus. Once you release, you don't need to release the shutter. Once you press the shutter halfway down, you feel that your lens is started hunting for the focus. Because once it will release, what happens? The mirror will be up, right? Mirror तो ऊपर चला जाएगा ना. Mirror and sub mirror. So at that point of time, your shutter won't release. So it's for the camera which have this kind of pentaprism. For that camera, there is a phase detector sensor. But for the mirrorless camera, that sensor is on your main sensor, right? But for this cameras, the mirrored cameras, there is a sub mirror that will reflect it on the another sensor, and how the sensor is over there and how it works. Let's see. So yeah, you can see the ray of light. Second is your main reflex mirror. Third will your secondary mirror, also known as sub mirror. Fourth one is your camera shutter and image sensor. Yeah, चलिए fifth your one more thing I'll explain you over here. In this kind of camera body, which have the seven numbers, the phase detector sensor, right? Your phase detector sensor. Do you know the hyperfocal distance? What is hyperfocal distances? Or flank focal distance? Know the flank focal distance? What is FFD? Anyone have any idea? FFD, flank focal distance.
The minimum focusing.
No. That's flank focal distance is the when I will explain it on later. मैं अभी थोड़ा सा brief कर देता हूँ बस to get to know that. कि your FFD is distance between your sensor and whether the last element of your lens, whether you can fix your lenses. Have you seen in your lenses there is a 3 dot, 4 dot, that the white dot over there, right? When you settle it down, उसको घुमाते rotate कर the left or right. Have you seen those pin over there? There's a 3 pin, there's a 4 pin, right? That will be fixed on your camera body when you're fixing your lenses. Have you seen that white dot or red dot? I'm talking about the Canon mini camera has a white dot only. Have you seen that?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, the distance between that element when your camera is attached, distance between that element to your sensor, right, is your FFD, right? वो जब camera लग जाता है, so that distance is, and it distance will fixed every time. So the distance, the FFD distance, and your this one, what the name of the sensor is? Phase detector sensor. Phase detector sensor and the FFD must be same. If it will be to 24 mm, the phase detector sensor distance also should be to 24 mm. If there will be any kind of changes, suppose तुम्हारा camera गिर गया, many times you feel that तुम्हारा camera autofocus नहीं कर रही, your camera autofocus not working properly, focus छोड़ रहा है many times. The reason is your FFD and your this sensor distance is not matching. So that must be same. एफएफडी का डिस्टेंस एंड तुम्हारे सेंसर का डिस्टेंस दोनों सेम होना चाहिए.
सर सेंसर का डिस्टेंस किससे?
सेंसर फ्रॉम दिस मिरर,
ओके सर.
sensor from this sensor, this phase detector sensor and the FFD, it must be same. Distance between main sensor to autofocus sensor and what the autofocus sensor to FFD, it must be same. अगर इन दोनों
ओके
में
सर.
थोड़ा भी गड़बड़ होगा, your camera won't able to focus. क्या कर रहा है? Light that gets bounced off the secondary mirror is received by 2 or more small image sensor with micro lenses above them. For each focus point you see in a viewfinder, there are 2 tiny sensors for phase difference. One for each side of the lens, which the light reaches these 2 sensors. If an object is in focus, light rays reaches these 2 sensors. If an object is in focus, light rays from the extreme side of the lens converge right in the center of its sensor. Both sensors would have identical image on them. Indicate that the object is indeed in perfect focus. If an object is out of focus, the light would no longer converge and it would hit different side of the sensor. Example देखते हैं. Now see for the every particular sensor how it works. See the conversion of light in number 1, number 3, number 2, number 4. This light is converging on number 1. Both axes are not matching in the certain point, right? The converge हो रहा है. See the third one. See the fourth one. What happened in second one? Is it converging?
Yes, sir.
So for every tiny focusing point, right, there will be 2 sensors. दोनों area से दोनों का there will be light should fall on that 2 corners. If the light will match, now your sensor will inform your sensor like now, sorry, to your lens, कि now it's perfectly focused, right? So अगर दोनों corner मिल जाएंगे, that will give you the information to the lenses कि ये भाई यहाँ focus है ना. अगर आपके इमेज यहाँ पर मिल गया तो, अगर नहीं मिला है तो इट मीन्स इट्स अ फार अवे. अगर फोर्थ वन जैसा कुछ बन रहा है तो इट्स अ फार अवे. If the first one, it must be the nearby the focusing point. कि उतना out of focus नहीं है. Third one में भी distance है, nearby focus भी नहीं है. But the second one is, if the conversion of light will looks like that, it means your image is perfectly focused. So in the face detector sensor, this kind of things happen. अगर तुम्हारा एक भी, suppose for an example, so this one is looking like that. It's just your one sensor basically. See to it. Have you seen once you are using your viewfinder, when you are using autofocus, at that point of time, have you seen this kind of grid or this kind of line over there? वो नहीं दिखता होगा, ऐसा तो दिखता होगा. Auto focusing point. For every particular focus, there will be two sensor. है ना? जितने भी particular focusing point होंगे, suppose 61, 51, 23, whatever, it's totally depend upon manufacturer. According to that, जितने भी होंगे, आपके दो सेंसर हर एक फोकसिंग पॉइंट के लिए होगा. ना? कोई कंफ्यूजन है इसमें तो बताओ. ये फोकसिंग पॉइंट में कंफ्यूजन है. आई थॉट.
Sir, here the red color uh, denotes the main mirror that light.
That light is falling from the sensor basically. Look, that light is falling from the sensor. From the two axis, light is falling because there's a two sensor, right? So if that light will match on the corner, suppose just for an example, look what happened in our eyes. We didn't need to bend the light, right? We don't need to bend the light to see something, right? But why we are bending the light over here? Or why your lens bend your light? The reason? You seen that when you are ready for the lenses, you seen that the light is over there and now you have to bend it, and then there will be the certain merging point. If that merging point is will be there, it means there will be the perfect focus, right? Have you seen that graphs when you are searching for the lenses? Why that ray is not traveling on same path? The reason? Why you have to bend the light and you have to merge it? Why you have to bend it? Why we need to bend it? Light bend hota hai, you know that the light will bend when you are focusing, right? Why you need to bend it? Straight भी तो आ सकता है ना. It will come straight, right? Image तो form हो ही रहा है ना straight light से भी. The reason, your eyes have the receptor, your sensor have the receptor, right? Do you feel your sensor is very smaller? Suppose करो you are just seeing something that is bigger. तुम बस देख रहे हो या you're watching some mountain or something else. उस माउंटेन का इमेज तुम्हारे रेटिना पे कैसे फॉर्म हो जाएगा? यू हैव टू बेंड दोस थिंग्स बिकॉज योर रिसेप्टर इज वेरी स्मॉलर. बहुत छोटा है ना तुम्हारा रिसेप्टर, तुम्हारा सेंसर बहुत छोटा है ना. सो दैट्स द रीजन दे हैव टू बेंड द लाइट. देयर इज अ मैकेनिज्म की लाइट बेंड होगा तभी दिखाई देगा ना. नहीं तो उतना बड़ा आपका है नहीं, रिसेप्टर उतना बड़ा नहीं है, आपका रिसीवर उतना बड़ा नहीं है. योर सेंसर इज नॉट दैट मच बिगर, सो दैट्स द रीजन यू हैव टू बेंड द लाइट. So when the light is coming, you are bending the light. It must be there should be converging point, whether it will converge, right? So if it will be sharp, दोनों is मिल गए properly, so it will be in focus. अगर नहीं मिले, if you are crossing, if you are far away, it will be out of focus. That's the thing. Contrast detection. You guys have find many times this kind of things. Your camera will keep hunting for the focus from foreground to the background, and whether they found that kind of contrast over there, the camera will work on it, right? So it's kind of a scanning that is happening over there. Every time your lens will go over there, scan it, focus it from foreground to background, whether within the scene there will be much more contrast. At that point of time, your sensor will inform your lens कि जाओ भाई focus कर लो, now focus it, right? Otherwise, every time your sensor will instruct the lens just keep hunting for focus every time. So देखते होगे when you are using contrast detection, your lens is repeatedly कीप हंटिंग फॉर इट एट वंस वो फोकस नहीं कर लेता है वो कॉन्ट्रास्ट खोजते रहता है विद इन अ सीन इफ देयर इज टू मच कॉन्ट्रास्ट इट्स वेरी डिफिकल्ट टू यूज कॉन्ट्रास्ट डिटेक्शन गौर चीज है कि कॉन्ट्रास्ट डिटेक्शन ऐप इज जनरली नॉन टू बी स्लो ऑन मोस्ट कैमराज द रीजन इज अगर आपका कैमरा बहुत बार उसे फोकस सर्च ही करे कैमरा इज स्टिल हंटिंग फॉर द फोकस obviously it will take time because from foreground to background many times they have to focus, right? They have to find, the contrast elements. The contrast detection autofocus will give you the most accurate focus when shooting single shot autofocus with a still object. Again, if there will be movement, फिर क्या होगा? It become difficult for the lens, for the camera sensor. Every time they have to inform the lens for the focus. If your subject is moving, face detection autofocus will give you the fastest and most accurate autofocus. You can see in this example. कुछ ऐसा दिखाई देता है ग्रीन Now your character if it is in motion ये static नहीं है मान लो ये move the hand move the face automatically ये क्या करेगा focus कर लेगा आपका detect कर लेगा right so if your character is in motion just try to use face detection
So audio we are not able to hear.
Sorry, sorry. So the question is, if the image has no contrast or little light, the camera may not have enough data to use either focus method. ये दोनों focus method काम नहीं करेगा. So at that point of time, what will work? कि light and autofocus assist beam. कि either you can use some flash or some another lights, or either you can use autofocus assist beam, that the infrared light. Because if there is a less light, a low light conditions, at that point of time, active focus system work properly. And another thing is most of the camera, I think Canon have this kind of features. If you are shooting in low light condition, you can feel that your ISO will bump up. Suddenly it's become 6400 only for the focus basically. कि वो 6400 या something कुछ whatever according to the metering mode. कि your ISO will be bump up और focus कर देता है. So these are the new features that they are keep adding on in you know These are the auto-focusing point. Nowadays, you get a Howard over 61, 71, 2000, sorry, 100 or something is whatever focusing point. What's the uses of it? Does anyone have idea? The more the focusing number, what happened? There's a more number of focusing point. What happened? What the benefit of it? If there's a more number of focusing point, क्या होगा?
We can focus very tiny, small subjects and at any corner of the frame.
Any corner of the means that key, not the any corner means whatever, if your character is in motion from here to there, from top edge of right to top edge of left, if they're moving, your camera can focus on it if the more number of focus over here. So that's the reason I have shown you over here one hand के gesture को follow करता हुआ, there was a one images over here where it was. यार कुछ प्रॉब्लम है इंटरनेट में. What happened? पीपीटी दिख रही है आप लोगों को?
No, sir.
What happened? एक सेकंड, hold. No. 1 second here. ब्लैंक आ रहा है क्या अभी भी?
Yes, sir.
1 second here. There's some problem with the internet. Give me 2 minutes. Let me fix it. Give me 2 minutes. One second. Yes. Now is it visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Okay, as I told you, not only do you have more autofocus point to use while composing your shot and focusing on a particular area of an image, but also the camera autofocus system can use those different point for subject tracking. जो मैंने आपको previous image में दिखा रहा था मैं, this one. It will track your subject movement also if there's a more number of focusing point. Now the mode, there's not only two more, there's a many modes that the camera has for me right now, but okay, let's discuss on two mode on it. Single autofocus mode, you pick one focus point and your camera will look for contrast just in the single focus point when you half place the shutter. AFS एक method होता है, it's only work for the single focusing system कि you wanted to focus on the single character or with same distance basically, not the single character कि for the same distance that you wanted to focus on it. So you can choose this the AFS system. At the same point of time, AFC is called the continuous focusing mode. This mode is used for tracking moving subject, such as when photographer spots wildlife and fast moving action. Any action is happening over there. So maybe every time your focus is not well on the same place. It means not in same range. कि तुम्हारा focus हमेशा 8 feet or 10 feet पे होगा. Every time contrast have been changed because एक frame से you are getting another frame, right? So at that point of time, maybe the contrast will be changed. So at that point of time, you have to choose continuous autofocus system. The reason is you can say then every time you will choose the autofocus continuous AFC. The reason is AFS will take less time than AFC to focus. So if you are saying that there's only single character or single distance that every suppose you are shooting some events, but every time you have to shoot the person who will be on podium. For an example, I'm right. So from you to podium, your distance will, fixed. So at that point of time, you can use AFS method, the single method. But if you have to cover, the events or any movement, any kind of things, at that point of time, you must have to choose that the continuous method because every time person will be changed, the distance will be changed, right? So contrast will be changed. So at that point of time, try to choose autofocus, continuous mode. Now there's a hybrid mode also called hybrid mode क्या करता है? Basically, hybrid mode that automatically switch between AFS and AFC mode. If the camera think that the subject is stationary, it switches to AFS, and if the subject moves, it will automatically switch to AFC mode. कि अब ये hybrid method आ गया. बहुत सारे mirrorless camera have the features basically कि both according to your subject, according to your movement, they can switch it automatically. So that's the hybrid mode. ये कौन सा the full time servo autofocus mode, also known as AFF, was introduced by Nikon specifically for recording video on its DSLR and mirrorless camera. This mode automatically tracks subject movement and acquire focus during video recording. So nowadays, many cameras, maybe two or three other focusing point will comes in the market. Uh, so it's not like that it's the end of the autofocus mode. There's a many mode, but these are the few, these are the basics, right? So anyone have any confusion regarding this autofocus system or types of autofocus? Yeah, yeah. So this PPT is visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. The reason why I'm discussing this one, it's not related to maybe they can't ask related to this one, but what I thought maybe this question can come. That's why I'm just explaining it to you guys. I'm just showing you the question. First one where it was. Okay. Maybe there will be two questions or two types of question maybe they can ask. Ki why we are choosing, why we are using clapboard, right? What's the answer? There's only one liner answer, right? And it will be what it will be
While editing for reference
while editing.
purpose.
That's the
For,
only answer, right? But
Yes,
maybe
sir.
if it is one liner answer, right? For the post production information we need, right? To sync the sound we need that the clap, right? That's a one
Yes,
liner
sir.
answer that you can give, no? But if it's a 5 marks question at that point of time, you must know the process of using it, right? How, because you have to explain it either 200 word, 300 words, right? So for that reason, because we only know one liner answer for the clap, why we are using clap, right? So that's the things. That's why I just wanted to discuss this topic. Why you are using clap and how to use this clap. Right. One second. ओके, स्टार्ट यार, क्या कर रहा है? The slate part is where we write all the identifying information about what is being recorded. Traditionally, this was made of actual slate, just like chalkboard. Nowadays, अभी हम ये वाला यूज करते हैं और एक और यूज करते हैं, दैट इज डिजिटल, राइट? आपने किसी ने नहीं देखा हो, आई विल शो यू इमेजेस आफ्टर ब्रेक, राइट? ये क्या है? एक्रेलिक व्हाइट बोर्ड पे बना होता है, एंड बिकॉज ऑफ द कॉन्ट्रास्ट, क्योंकि व्हाइट होता है उस पर ब्लैक से लिखते हो, इट विल बी विजिबल, राइट? ले स्लाइड में भी दिखाई। नो, इस पे क्या क्या लिखा होता है, लेट्स डिस्कस ऑन इट, कैसे लिखना चाहिए। The slate on the slate is used by second assistant camera, also known as the clapper loader. The main purpose is to tell the post-production team when the camera has started. The clap of the clapboard is what the editor used to find whether the video and audio of each take are synchronized. The editor looks for the spike in the audio waveform made by the clap of the sticks and line that up with the video frame where the clapper sticks meet. Right? जब ये sound आ जाएगा, and after that, he knows that sound have been synced. Not the how they process it basically. He, before saying it, one second. Anyone have idea how to give clap? किसी ने काम किया थोड़ा बहुत?
Yes, sir.
या कैसे करते हैं बताओ? How it work?
So basically, scene number, shot number, take number बोल के.
No. That's the information. How
Yes,
to
sir.
give clap, the process.
So we need to look at which camera lens is being used, and उस हिसाब से you go to the distance, go to the subject which is being in the frame, and then you announce and clap and run away.
There's a process. Right, the process is called, if there is a sound is happening over there, the on location sound, right?
Yes, sir.
So there's a difference. When there's an on location sound, there's a not on location sound. To holding is there's a difference, right? So suppose for an example right now, if there is a sound, on location sound is going on, right? So director firstly asks for the sound, right? When the sound start rolling, right? When your sound guys say, okay, it's rolling, it's rolling, right? Then your clap person or your second essay will give the not they, at that point of time will not give the clap. वो सिर्फ बोलेगा, जो भी बोलता है, सीन नंबर, शॉट नंबर, जो भी है वो सिर्फ बोलेगा, राइट? क्लैप देगा नहीं। आफ्टर साउंड, राइट, आफ्टर साउंड जो क्लैप पर्सन है, दे ओनली नेम दोज थिंग्स, whatever scene number, shot number, whatever is happening on. Then again, the writer say, ask the camera person, the roll camera. Now the camera person say rolling, then that clap boy give the clap, right? Because for the video, they only need the visuals, not the audio, right? उसको ऑडियो तो बस क्लैप में मिल गया, हो गया ना? बिकॉज वीडियो में तो दिख रहा है सीन नंबर, शॉट नंबर, एवरीथिंग इज विजिबल, राइट? सो दैट्स द रीजन दैट रेफरेंस जो वो कहता है मुझसे सीन नंबर, शॉट नंबर, दैट वाज फॉर द ऑडियो बेसिकली, बिकॉज वीडियो में तो सामने दिख ही रहा है ना, once you record it, right? So that's the process. Firstly, the sound guy will confirm that that's rolling. Then whatever the clap person will introduce those things, whatever written over there, they will read it out. Then there will the camera rolling. Then they will give the clap. And after that, जब वो बाहर आ जाएगा नीचे करके, then there will be the action. That's the process. Now, well, that's the process that I want to discuss. The things is, अब उस पे लिखा क्या क्या होता है? There's a three things that is written out. The scene number, take number, and the roll number. Roll number means पहले roll use होता था, तो whatever the number of that things. Now the digital, for a card पे जो numbers तुम रखोगे, for according to that you can write it down. देख लेते हैं. Let's see.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
The roll number is in the case if it's a film camera, right? What if it's a digital one?
Digital, your number there is a number, no, in digital. In memory, you are recording videos. If you just reset it, there will be certain number A001, A003, or A004. Is it coming or not? Once you
Yeah,
format your
yeah,
memory
yeah.
card, right? So that number you can write over there.
No, okay, sir.
That number you can write over there. Even you can give your memory card a certain number, no? You can rename the memory card. I'll give you a number like A001. You can rename the card or you put his number, no? So you can just rename it.
Yeah.
If you have 3 or more cameras for the full shot, it's best to have a separate slate for each one. Otherwise, you will waste too much valuable production time just slating, right? Correct. So acrylic sheet one. The roll number means which roll of film you are shooting on. If you are shooting on digital, it identifies that media file. We use 3-digit number for the roll number alongside a letter to identify which camera the roll was recorded on. If you only have one camera, your first shot on the first day should be marked A001. If you are using 2 cameras, now क्या करोगे उसको? Just see the example. It's A0037, B0018. It means camera A, camera B, camera C. If there is a 3 cameras, you can write it down A, B, C, right? And what is in C? नीचे जो है, it's not for the A, B, C आपने लिख दिया. One second. No, another is X, right? ये बिल्कुल opposite है इसका X001. X is for the sound. If there is on location sound is happening, आप उसका भी number लिख दो. So X is for the sound.
Sir, the that on location sound and the sync sound is that both the same?
Yeah, obviously. If there is a no sound on clap, I'm just showing you one thing. One second, I'm showing you. Have you seen? There's MOS.
Yes, sir.
What does MOS means? आपने clap दिया?
Yes, sir. It basically comes from without sound, which is basically without sound with an accent from where it originated.
उसका मतलब अब सिंपल इसका मतलब टेक्स विदाउट साउंड कि आप
Sound.
साउंड नहीं ले रहे हो एट दैट पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम आप ये जो वर्ड है मोस ये यूज होता है बेसिकली एंड वन अनदर थिंग्स ये जो क्लैप आपको दिख रहा है वंस यू आर डूइंग ऑन लोकेशन नॉट डूइंग ऑन लोकेशन साउंड साउंड नहीं कर रहे हो तो क्या करते हैं क्लैप देते हैं
No, sir.
क्या करते हैं इस क्लैप को फिंगर रख देते हैं बीच में
Yes, sir.
या वो क्लैप पूरा नहीं हो क्लैप के बीच में जस्ट पुट योर फिंगर सो देयर विल बी नो साउंड तो ये फॉर जस्ट द रेफरेंस फॉर द पोस्ट प्रोडक्शन बेसिकली जस्ट द रेफरेंस फॉर पोस्ट प्रोडक्शन कि पोस्ट में क्या होगा एडिटर कैन अंडरस्टैंड ओ देयर इज नो साउंड सो यू विल नॉट you know waste his time to searching for sound and hearing it is there sound or not so it's just for the reference basically that's the reason they are just naming it down चलिए सीन को देख लेते हैं क्या करेंगे मार्क द सीन ऑन द क्लैपबोर्ड यूजिंग अ कॉम्बिनेशन ऑफ नंबर एंड लेटर्स तो इसका मतलब सीन नंबर को क्या किस में लिखेंगे नंबर्स में लिखेंगे एंड लेटर्स में व्हाट एवर द शॉर्ट इट इज राइट द numerical is the scene number in the script the letter indicate the shot each time something about the shoot changes like the camera moves to new position you change the letter to whatever is the next alphabet आप लेटर को चेंज कर देंगे because there is another shot even if the same shot is there right same shot same scene same shot is there you just change the magnification it's become another shot it will not remain the same shot even you put a single gel on it it will be another shot just I'm showing you see this one there's a 4 camera setup right sorry with the 4 camera positioning over here So your scene will be anything, could be, chalo, हमने लिखा हुआ 42, right? So it could be the 42 होगा for the 3 camera, 42A, 42B, right? See this one? The first camera setup will be 42. The second shot, दूसरा ये shot है 42A, तीसरा shot 42B, चौथा shot 42C. Even if you change for the 42C shot, if you change the lighting conditions, or either you put the jail, either you change the aperture, either you change the magnification, either you change the position of your camera, it's become 42D. It's not remain the 42C. Anything if you change in the scene, कुछ भी change होगा, it become the another short number.
Sir, if it's a 3 camera setup and all the three cameras rolling at the same time means for each camera there will be a separate clapboard.
Yeah. So you can write down the short number, no? 42B. The same things will be there for the editor, the same reference, either you are using the multi-cam or single cam, right? You are taking the same things, no?
Okay.
You are taking same things with 3 different angles, right? So for the 3 different angle, you know that your master will be 42, your mid shot will be 42A, your close will be the 42B, right? Your extreme will be 42C.
So the ABC represents the different cameras.
Present the different shot size, basically, different shot.
Okay. So I am asking
Because
if
you know this how scene have been made. Scene have been with the series of shot. And now it's depend up to you if that series of shot you can take with one camera or multiple camera. But there will be series of shot, right? So
okay.
it means there will be different kind of shot. So different kind of shot have the different name on it. So it's become easy for the editor. Like 42A, this one is first shot, this one is second, this one is third. If they name the same shot, same number with the all cameras, editor got confused. So that's the reason. Ki same things will happening over there. If you're using 4 cameras, numbering like that only. So the one thing is left. For the take, there is a one confusion. बता देता हूँ. ये मैंने बता चुका हूँ. Anytime you change lenses, add a filter, go from a static shot to one with camera movement, that's the new shot. You will need to mark the slate accordingly. For example, going back up to the diagram, let's say in setup 4, we change the frame from a medium shot to a close-up. That means we change the lens. Even though the camera itself is the same place, we would still mark the scene area of our slate as 42D. Again, a new frame means new shot, which means a new letter on the slate. Now for the take number, sorry. Take number are the easiest to mark. Take just the identification number in order to from 1 to whatever it will be. However, many are needed to many director happy the sometimes director want to. ये line जो है the same. Sometimes the director will want to do a series instead of individual take. Suppose for in certain expressions they want different expressions. So every time you didn't need to change, you know, the take numbers. You take 1, take 2, take 3. How they rename it? They just rename it like this. Take 3 series. It means in that shot there will different expression will be there, right? कि एक ही series के they wanted the same shot in different kind of, you know, they want variation basically, right? So you can write down over there the series. So didn't need to every time you take 4, take 5, take 6, right? One more thing, anything, all right, suppose for an example, if you are taking shot, if you are retaking, retake कहते हैं ना, basically you are taking retake. If you are retaking it and it's just the fault of, the actors, right? Or the actor want. So you can rename it for the another take, take one, take two, take three. But anything that happened technically, suppose for you are started recording and your memory card is not working, maybe the lightman made some mistakes, maybe boom have come within the frame or something else, it will not counted at another take. It will not become the take two or take three because that's not the fault of any actor or director don't want that one. So any technical glitch that happened, you don't need to rename it or you don't need to, rename it for the another take. It will be the same take, right? So in technical fault happened over there, you don't need to, it will not counted in the retake. वो retake नहीं होगा, right? देख लीजिए एग्जाम्पल एक बार. Okay, guys, take a 10 minutes break. We'll resume after 10 minutes. Okay. Okay. This one, the final point that I want to discuss is the how to use a film slate. First things, mark the film slate. Fill, fill in every box on the slate with the appropriate information, adjusting the scene and take numbers each time they changed. Every time scene change hoga or either the numbers or take whatever, so you can just fill it properly. Another is wait until the camera is rolling. Very simple. Make sure that it's the duty of camera person that the your slate is within the frame or not, is on focus or not, right? If it won't, the camera person आपको बता देगा कि आप थोड़ा नीचे कर लो because it's the close shot on that shot. And also by the marking you got to know that where it should be, right? But जब तक roll ना हो जाए at that point of time you must have to be there because it must be recorded. You can function record नहीं होगा तो फिर hold the slate in a frame. The camera operator will instruct you whether to stand and hold the slate so that is clearly visible in the frame and in focus. Hold the film slate with the thing facing you so that you can open and close the clapper stick with one hand. Once you are in position, open the sticks and tilt the slate forward slightly to avoid reflecting light into the camera lenses. कि थोड़ा सा घुमा देंगे उसे तो लाइट जो है आपका मतलब हल्का सा tilted down कर देंगे, लाइट डायरेक्टली रिफ्लेक्ट नहीं करेगा. Say the scene number and take number lot. Then clap the stick. Tail slate, what is tail slate? When you are not, sometimes you are not able to, don't have that much of time कि आप लगाने जाओ या आप starting में ये काम कर पाते हो, rather with the tight shot or close shot is there. At that point of time, after ending the action, right, camera keep rolling, you can, use this thing. So it's called the use a tail slate, right? Tail slate में क्या होता है and how it comes, मैं tail slate दिखाता हूँ. इसको उल्टा पकड़ते हैं, the reverse basically, right? That's called the tail slate because आप end में shot ले रहे हो, camera is keep rolling, action खत्म हो गया, camera is keep rolling. At that point of view, you are taking the tail shots. You have to hold the slate upside down basically. Use soft stick for close-up shots. So basically, actor getting irritated अगर मुंह के पास shot रखे हुए और you are just clapping too loud, right? So just try to be very softer, right? So you can use that softer one. Indicate MOS. If for takes without sound, this acronym stands for motor only sync. or motor only shot, and it means the take is being filmed without sound. To indicate a MOS take, hold the sled with your hand between the two clappers take and refrain from clapping them. कि clapping ना हो, sound produce ना हो, so that will show that the ये आप without sound जो है आप record कर रहे हो. So these are the basic things. मुझे वो कहाँ गया trail आपका देखने. Okay, not it's not there. नहीं आ रहा. You guys can Google the tail slit. No, tail slit समझ लो सीधा reverse जो है ना ये this one इसका इसको upside down कर दो, this become the tail slit. As you can see, guys, yeah, it's just for the how to shoot day for night interior basically. जो PPT में interior exterior इसमें discuss नहीं कर रहा हूँ. So just the how to shoot day for night. So what is day for night basically? Even in the daytime, we are just creating that it's night, right? So that's the day for night. So the act of filming a scene set at night during the day. The term most commonly applies to exterior shots, but can also apply any on-location shoot where the daylight is a major factor. Creating day for night footage in a multi-step process that is staged from the production phase to post-production basically. कि it's not only the pre-production, आपको post में ही बहुत सारे gradings करने पड़ते for that reason. But here the question is how you prepare for the day for night in on location when you are shooting basically. So we will not discuss the post-production things. What will be your approach basically? What will be your approach when you are shooting day for night? The first things why it's come, you can it's night, you can shoot at night. So why? What's the reason that we have to shoot day for night? क्या-क्या reasons हो सकते हैं?
More control over light.
More control over light, right? Another?
सन का पोजीशन चेंज होता रहता है दिन में, तो that won't be a thing for this.
ठीक है, good. और बताइए. But day for night हम कर रहे हैं basically. You don't get confused. Yeah, is the act of filming a scene set at night during the day. We are creating night at daytime basically. We are creating night at daytime, right? So why we are not shooting at night? Just because night में ही है, night में जाओ and shoot कर लो. The reason? The many factor comes, right? It's not necessarily that many factor comes. Maybe your actor want to available, maybe that location want to available at night, right? So many things happening out there. So बहुत सारी चीजें हो सकती हैं. But how you consider that or what you usually consider when you are shooting it, right? So first things about night is why you feel this is night. what is in this image that you feel it's night?
सर क्योंकि बाहर जो है वो काफी डार्क है.
So in technical terms, you can say it's contrast, right?
Yes sir.
So basically, to create a night, you need contrast. So first of all, what you need to do is you have to block the light, whatever daylight is coming inside your interiors, right? Mostly you have to block those things, right? तभी होगा ना, because the daytime there is a less contrast. The first things, the first difference between day and night is the contrast, because the night have more contrast. The first things, you have to cover everything, right? So you have to block the light, whatever light that is falling. So let's just start with here. So yeah, you can block out the windows that aren't in the shot. जो shot में नहीं है, you can block that windows. And अगर जो shot में windows है, what you can do with that windows? कि क्या कर सकते हो उस windows के साथ? It is easier to control interior lighting, although it may limit using exterior lights shining through windows. It creates blue moonlight. For windows that are in the shot, you can block them out if the window sets are drawn. But if you are going to see through them using ND gel on windows or screamers or even setting up black fabric, far away from the windows can be effective. Tinting the windows we also useful. Don't use CTO if you want the outside to be slightly blue. The reason there are 4 or 5 things that you can do. You can fix ND gel on it. Even you can fix the net on it. So somehow you can just diffuse the light through that. If your lens is seeing those things through that windows, so outside should look darker. The reason with the ND filters, there will be less light comes inside, right? So you can put the NDs or screamers लगा सकते through which you can diffuse the light. Tinting the windows means कि windows वाली area को you just cover it properly बाहर से, ताकि there will be the less light that will come inside, right? So you can also cover like that. So there is a 4 or 5 way through which you can basically you are just controlling the light through exposure. Also you can control, but it affect many more things, right? Don't use CTO. अगर orange लगा दोगे तो moonlight की feeling नहीं, because night have that kind of effect, the blue light. Don't be afraid to have a dim image. Yes, you are shooting during the day, but remember you are trying to sell it as night, so don't be afraid of a dark image. कि dark होगा because you have to create contrast, so there will be highlights and dark. Means there will be to create contrast, highlights and shadows. There will be much more difference. So dark area होगा ज़्यादा. Be careful when closing down your iris. The more your iris is closed down, the more your depth of field increase, and it might be disconnecting to see a night scene with sharp background. Again, here is the perfect time for adding ND to your lens for control the depth of field. So don't use higher aperture. कि aperture ज़्यादा कर देता हूँ, it will control the light. The reason is if you are using that much of aperture, it will give you great depth of field, and that time night, if everything will be in sharp focus, it's very difficult for you to control everything, right? The contrast create करने के लिए you must have to focus on your center of interest. That is your character. As in this example, you can see this one. No, in this example, what happened? Your focus is on character only, right? We बहुत ज़्यादा background पे जा रहा है, नहीं जा रहा है, because there is no great depth of field. And also there is a less light, there is a contrast. Don't blow out your backlight unless the actor is supposed to be standing in front of ragging in front. No, don't go for that glowing blown out hair light look. Well, for the glamorous and that kind of things you can use, sometimes we are using it. But if you are creating that night or interior, try to avoid those things basically. Don't show the sky. Obviously, अगर दिखा दोगे, that's very difficult. And there's a filter that you can use it to create that film, right? Choose whatever you are going for, realistic looking night or a more stylized day or night, day for night effect. Now it's all up to you कि कितना natural रखना चाहते हो. You are making it the more artificial or more glamorous that you want it to make. So that's all up to you. white balance your camera for the tungsten, basically we are using it, or either you can mix it up कि tungsten और daylight के बीच में तुम रख सकते हो to adjust it. We along with the filters you need the flag means the cutter, stand cutter, paste black cloth. Close-ups and medium shots will work better mostly because you have a smaller frame to control. Likewise, a longer lens that show less of the background will help you out. Because if you are shooting day for night, right? Many times because if you control many things, this area becomes smaller or maybe some area will be visible. So at that point, if you are using long telephoto lenses, less area, less background will visible in your frame. So try to use the long telephoto lenses. That's the things कि आप color correction बाद में कर सकते हो. But there's many more things that you can write down on it. It's not only the 3 or 4 points that we have discussed, and it's totally upon your experience, how you feel when you are shooting in daytime, and which kind of approach which kind of method that you wanted to apply. It's all up to you. It's not only 3 or 4 points that I have discussed. I just discussed it because maybe that kind of question comes. What will be your approach for day for night or night for day, right? Or either the night times observation or something is that kind of thing. So it's not like all over here, right? You can write your own experience on these questions. Okay. Do one thing. I just explained this question, right? Now the write down your approach to अभी जो आप भेजोगे मुझे कल भेज दो 2 क्वेश्चन लोगों के आए हुए हैं so we'll discuss it tomorrow. That question जो previously हमने पूछा हुआ है. ये क्वेश्चन क्या था अभी हमारा व्हाट विल बी योर अप्रोच फॉर डे फॉर नाइट नाउ दैट्स बिकम द नाइट फॉर डे कि रात में क्या करोगे डे क्रिएट करने के लिए तो सपोज इट दिस क्वेश्चन ना and you guys have to write down 5 points. What will be your approach when you are shooting night for day? It's not day for night, night for day. कि दिन में अगर रात शूट करना हो तो क्या करोगे? What will be your approach? Write down at least 200 words and 5 points. लिख दूं या समझ गए आप लोग?
समझ गए सर.
Got it, sir.
Okay, ठीक है. The 5 points and 200 words. That is it. Okay. Anu, 1 second, guys.
Approach.
Only your approach, not just available and that things. Now, what will be, that's why I told you, what will be your approach when you are shooting night for day?
Okay.
Your approach only. As in being a camera person, what will be your approach? That's the things only you need to write.
Okay.
You know? आपका approach क्या है वही आपको लिखना है बस. That's the things.
Sir, for exterior shots, night for day, is it possible?
Yeah, obviously. Why not? Many filmmakers have shooted by changing the white balance.
So how we can recreate the skies?
You are asking for the night for day or day for night?
Night for day.
Night for day.
Yeah.
Night for?
Night for day. The
Night
exterior
for day.
shots.
In night time you have to create day, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So just try to avoid sky, use larger light, HMI and that kind of things, higher light. Because in daytime it's very simple to distinguish both things, the day and night. In daytime you feel there's a less contrast, the patch of light, the beam of light, right? That kind of things is coming, right? The pattern of light is falling on the daytime. So you can create that kind of things if you are shooting, right? And you can create it. You have to avoid then that point of time, you have to avoid the sky basically. You have to avoid it. Even when you are shooting day for night, at that time also try to avoid the lights. But there's a many kind of filters that people are using it. But yeah, obviously you can create. If you have that kind of production budget, use larger HMI, then you can shoot it. Right? Because HMI is for the daylight balance. So any light that is daylight balanced, that will create a feel of it. You know? So even you can create it. So that's the meter. It's very simple. Key how your daytime looks like, right? And what will be your approach to achieve it? You just see your home, see your balcony at the daytime, how it appear. Now, if you have that much of light, you can create those things at night also. Create कर सकते हैं that much of intensity, that much of brightness, right? That kind of qualities. हो सकता है ना? So that will be your approach. You can create it. Now, obviously, we have to avoid the sky. No.
इन सर ये फ्लोरोसेंट लाइट एंड डे लाइट में से ब्लूअर कौन सी होती है ज्यादा?
क्या?
सर डे लाइट और जो फ्लोरोसेंट लाइट्स है उसमें से ज्यादा ब्लूअर कौन सी होती है?
कोई लाइट ब्लूअर लाइट नहीं होती. इज द कूल लाइट, इज द व्हाइट
हाँ
लाइट.
सर, हाँ जी.
जो सनलाइट है वो डे लाइट है, इज द व्हाइट लाइट. वो आपको अपियर होता है. उस दिन भी मैंने बताया था कि वो अपियर इसलिए होता है आपको. द रीजन इज फ्लोरेसेंट थोड़ा सा ब्लूइश होता है क्योंकि उसमें इसका वेवलेंथ ज्यादा होता है, हल्का ब्लूइश होता है, बट इट विल अपियर व्हाइट. If you set exact white balance, if you tell your camera that what is exact color temperature of this particular light, it will appear white. That's the things.
ओके ओके.
So regarding the lighting, what are the lights available and the grips? What are the grips available? Regarding that, in our upcoming classes, we will discuss.
Light, if you guys want, I can make not all light that we can discuss, but yeah, the industry, whatever industry are using lights on, not the types of light. Instead of that, what I can discuss, what will be your approach when you renting the light, right? In which you can, sum up with all those things. What you need basically. According to that, you just find out the light, right? Which kind of intensity that you want, how much power that you need it, right? And how much power that whether you are shooting, they are allowing, right? What will be the beam? What will be the quality of light? Because before selecting the light, you must have to know your like needs, what you want basically. So firstly, we can discuss on that point. When you are choosing the lights, right, at that point of what things should be considered. Like when you are shooting something, what you consider when you are choosing the camera. For any shoot, you are not taking the same camera, right? Your approach will be different according to your shoot. Suppose you have to shoot the higher speed things, right? You choose different cameras. करोगे ना?
Okay.
Normal can you choose another cameras. So firstly, we just figure it out that those point. What will be your approach and how you just figure it out that when you are just go for the location hunting or anything else, or when you are just read the script or see the locations, now you wanted to rent out the lights. What you will think before renting those things, right? So after that, whatever the 4 or 5 or 6 light, whatever is over there, I will discuss those things. The main companies, main lights that I will discuss. So surely in upcoming classes we'll discuss it. But tomorrow I will discuss whatever you guys have sent it to me, and that question, the day for night. Okay. So that I will discuss. Okay. One more thing, guys. I got some urgent call. I have to leave. So it's a 15-minute left. So tomorrow I will just take 15 minutes extra to go somewhere. क्वेश्चंस मिल गए आप लोगों को? या मैं लिख दूं इसमें? हेलो, एम आई ऑडिबल?
जी सर, समझ आगे समझ.
तो मैं कल 15 मिनट एक्स्ट्रा आप लोगों को जो है वो कर देता हूँ, ठीक है? बिकॉज आई हैव टू लीव नाउ.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, dear. Thank you. Good night. Good night, dear. Thank you.
थैंक यू सर.
Good night, sir. Thank you.
Good night, dear. Thank you, dear.